Deep in the heart of the jungle, a mystery has been sleeping for over 1,000 years. It's the story of a metropolis that vanished, not with a bang, but with a whisper. We're going to try and uncover the secrets of Tikal. Before it was lost to time, this was a civilization so powerful, its people really believed it was eternal. It was, in their minds, a city that literally held the sky. So we are talking about Tikal. And at its absolute peak, between about 600 and 800 AD, this was, with no exaggeration, one of the most powerful and sophisticated cities anywhere on the planet. And the scale? I mean, it's just astounding. At its height, Tikal was home to an estimated 100,000 people. Now, this wasn't some quiet, remote ceremonial center. No, this was a sprawling, humming capital, a true Mesoamerican superpower. And you can literally see their ambition in the structures they left behind. The Temple of the Great Jaguar, for example, soared 47 meters into the air, just piercing the jungle canopy. It wasn't just a place of worship, it was a declaration of power, A statement visible for miles around, a man-made mountain that basically said, "We are here and we are forever." Tikal was an absolute hub of brilliance. Their astronomers were charting the stars with stunning accuracy. Their architects, well, they were raising these colossal structures without metal tools or even beasts of burden. It's kind of mind-boggling. They controlled trade routes, they documented their own history in a complex written language. This was a civilization at the absolute peak of its powers. And then, the building just stopped. The voices faded. A great silence began to fall over the city. This is the central mystery of Tikal. How did an empire of this scale simply vanish? This timeline, when you really look at it, is just chilling. For 2 solid centuries, the city boomed. And then, around 830 AD, it just slows way down. The last dated monument we have is from 869. And after that, nothing. Just an empty space on the timeline where a great city used to be. And the population drop was just as sudden and just as dramatic. In less than a single century, an estimated 90% of the people were gone. It was an exodus of almost unimaginable speed. You can just picture it, the plazas emptying, the markets falling silent. So, this brings us to the core question that has haunted archaeologists for generations. What on earth happened here? How does a city of 100,000 people just disappear? Well, it turns out the most compelling evidence we have points not to a sword, but to the sky. So let's look at the clues that suggest the very thing that gave Tikal life might have also led to its end. To really understand Tikal's collapse, you've got to get this one crucial fact. The city had no natural rivers or lakes. Zero. Its entire existence was balanced on this incredible, and I mean incredible, system of man-made reservoirs. It was an engineering marvel for sure, but it was also their single greatest vulnerability. And this is the leading theory. Scientists have looked at sediment cores from nearby lakes, and they show clear evidence of a catastrophic, multi-decade drought right around the time of the collapse. The rains just stopped coming, so the reservoirs ran dry, the crops failed, and the people, well, they had no choice but to leave. It was a devastatingly simple chain reaction. But here's the thing, the drought didn't happen in a vacuum. Tikal was already under immense strain. The population was too large, the forests had been cleared for farming, and the soil was exhausted. In fact, skeletal remains show signs of malnutrition even before the drought really hit. So the drought, it was like the final push that sent an already fragile system right over the edge. But what makes the end of Tikal so, well, haunting, is the evidence archaeologists didn't find. There's no sign of a great war, no evidence of a massive civil war, no burned palaces. There aren't even any mass graves that would suggest a widespread plague or a huge battle. And that's the detail that's just so unsettling. The city wasn't sacked or burned to the ground, it was simply left. People just packed up what they could and walked away, letting the jungle slowly swallow their homes, their temples, and their entire history. So for nearly 1,000 years, Tikal just disappeared from the world map, perfectly preserved in this heavy cloak of green. And its rediscovery revealed what felt like a ghost city, just frozen in time. I mean, just think about that span of time. For almost 1,000 years, Tikal was just a rumor, a story told by the local Itza Maya people, who thankfully never fully forgot it was there. But it wasn't until 1848 that the outside world really laid eyes on it again. And what they found was absolutely staggering. Over 1,000 structures have been mapped so far, but honestly, that's just scratching the surface. There are thousands more buildings that are still just lumps under the jungle floor, waiting to be uncovered. The sheer scale of what was lost and what still remains is almost incomprehensible. People who go there say that if you stand on top of a temple at dawn, just watching the mist burn off the canopy, you realize that Tikal doesn't feel dead. It doesn't even really feel like a ruin. It feels like a place that's waiting, a city holding its breath, maybe still listening for the footsteps of its people to return. It's a silent, powerful reminder of just how fragile even the greatest civilizations can be.